Today we are going to learn about concept of IVABC in a short form. We'll try to see what is this concept and how it is being developed. Now let's say there is a company 1, like I will call it as a C1, company 1. This company has researched and developed a new drug. Now this company has developed this new drug and they are going for a new formulation for the first time. Formulation, what is that formulation? It contains drug and excipients. Let's say that formulation is tablet and I will denote it as T1 because it is been developed by company C1. Now I don't know how these excipients will act, or you can say will affect the absorption, rate of absorption and extent of absorption of the drug in that particular dosage form. I don't know this. For that I need to conduct a study. We call it as bioavailability study. So there are various methods through which we can conduct these bioavailability studies. It has been already explained. You can go and check my video on this bioavailability. Next, let's say this company want to change the dosage form from tablet. One dosage form is available in tablet. They want to go for suspension. Now this company suddenly thought that because they want liquid dosage form for the particular tablet and the drug present in the tablet is not soluble, hence they went for the suspension. Now here also again they need to conduct the bioavailability study because we don't know how my excipient present in this suspension form will affect the rate and extent of drug absorption. That is your bioavailability. So I need to conduct bioavailability study. Remember, bioavailability studies are conducted in human beings. I will give the suspension to the human being. I will take out his blood plasma. I will take out his blood, then I will measure what is the amount of drug present in the plasma if it is a pharmacokinetic method, that too type 1. Okay. Now let's say company C2 also manufacture the same tablet here. When it can do that? By using the same drug. When the patent of this particular new drug of company C1 is been expired. Now because the patent is been expired, the company C2 will take that drug, add its own excipients and develop a formulation. Let's say that is a tablet, and here that company T1, that company C1 has developed a tablet, that is T1, and C2 has developed a tablet, let's say it is T2. Now again, if this company want to release the drug into the market, then regulator will ask this C2 company to conduct a bioavailability study and show the 80% of match with the innovator product. Here the innovator is C1. That match we call it as bioequivalence studies. We call it as bioequivalent. We call two formulations are bioequivalent when their bioavailability is matching 80% and above. Then we will call that bioequivalent products. Now for this study again company C2 has to conduct the bioavailability study in human beings, even though the drug developed by C1 company is well established. Here this drug is well established, then same drug is been used here by C2 company, but again they are just to know how much is the rate and extent of drug absorption, that is your bioavailability, they have to go for the human studies. Now let's say there is another company, I will take it as C3. All of a sudden this C3 company also want to manufacture same drug and same formulation, same drug and use their excipients and same formulation, that is tablet. I denote it as T3. So company 3 want to manufacture tablet, by using the same drug, but the excipients are different because company C1 is a innovator. He never shares their excipient ratio and type of excipients, but they will share only the drug used because their patent is been expired. Now again this C3 company also want to go for the bioequivalence studies as per the requirements of the regulators, and they want to prove that okay, this is the bioavailability which is matching 80% with the innovator product. For this also you have to use human being. Now the question is, when the drug is been well established, why do I want to go for the human use? Why can't I go for the other use, like we call it as in vitro? Why only the in vivo studies is been required? Then this thing leads to the generation of a concept called bio-waiver. Bio-waiver means waiving of use of living organisms in particular studies. Here the study is bioavailability. So in the bioavailability, we are just seeing what is the rate and extent of absorption. We are not determining its safety and efficacy as we are doing in the clinical trials. Hence we call this as bioavailability studies, and only we want to see the rate and extent of the drug absorption. In such case, why should I go each and every time for a well recognized drug if it is patent is expired, or same patent is not expired but the company the innovator company want to go for the another formulation? In such case, when the drug is been well established by clinical trials by the company one, that is innovator product, why I need to conduct just to know the rate and extent, that is your bioavailability in living organism? To avoid that, we got the concept of bio-waiver. What bio-waiver says, use in vitro method instead of in vivo. But to use in vitro method has a primary thing, instead of in vivo, I should maintain the conditions in vitro which is equal to in vivo. Then only I will get good correlation between in vitro and in vivo. That what is your IVC, in vitro in vivo correlation. How can I correlate these things? So there is a methods. So I'll just quickly list out those methods. So we can correlate by first method, conduct the studies simultaneously in vitro as well as in vivo. Conduct the studies simultaneously in vitro in vivo, compare the data and come to a point, okay, in vitro can be used than in vivo. That is the first method. Second method, previously we have in vivo data evaluated by company C1. Here in this I said company C1 is the innovator, he has developed everything. So use that data. Which data? In vivo data of company C1, then conduct a in vitro study of company C2, C3, I don't know how many n number of companies want to manufacture that tablet because it is patent is expired. So use this data and compare the correlation. Now how to correlate that? We can correlate that by three processes. One is plasma drug concentration studies, or urinary extraction studies, or we can go for the pharmacological effects. So I will explain this. Plasma drug concentration studies, what it will relate? In vitro study which can relate your bioavailability study is the best in vitro, the outside the body, is dissolution studies. So this dissolution studies is going to mimic your in vitro. How to make it to mimic in vivo studies? By using in vitro, that is dissolution studies. One, you can relate with the plasma drug concentration. How we can do that? On x-axis in dissolution studies we'll get percentage drug, cumulative drug release, and in vivo studies we get percentage cumulative drug absorbed. When you say that cumulative drug release is equal to cumulative drug absorbed, you will get a good correlation. When you get a good correlation, it is an indication that whatever the dissolution studies you have developed outside the body, dissolution we carried out in outside the body, that is in good correlation with the in vivo studies, that is percentage cumulative drug absorbed. How this is being correlated? 10% of drug release at time t1 in vitro is equal to 10% of drug release, 10% of drug absorbed in time t1 in your body. So outside it is released and absorbed is also same. 20% is released, 20% is absorbed, 30% is released, 30% is absorbed. So the basic concept in vivo in vitro correlation is amount of drug release should be equal to amount of drug absorbed. That is the basic concept in the in vitro and in vivo correlation. This type of correlation we call it as type A. Type A means point to point. See here, I will mention in other this one. Point to point correlation we call it as type A correlation. Another correlation is there, we call it as type B. What is type B? Take the mean of this and take the mean of this. Compare the mean of outside studies conducted outside the body and compare the mean of studies conducted inside the body. To take the mean, you have to take all the points and take the mean, convert that points into mean. When the mean is been converted, match the mean. If the mean is almost similar, then we can say it as good correlation. Such type of correlation we call it as type B. Here we are not going for point to point correlation, we are going for the mean. Another correlation is that is type C. Here we are not taking point to point, neither we are taking mean, we are taking only single point. Single point is either Cmax of in vitro and in vivo is correlated, or Tmax of in vitro and in vivo is correlated, or AUC of in vitro and in vivo is correlated. One at a time, that what is type C. Type C correlation is one at a time, one point. If you want to go for multiple points, we have multiple type C. So you can correlate in multiple points. Just take Cmax, Tmax as well as AUC and correlate. Cmax in vitro, compare it with Cmax with in vivo, or that what is your multiple point correlation types. So after doing all these studies, what I will come to know is whatever the method I developed in vitro is having good correlation with in vivo. When it has good correlation with in vivo, that is whatever the studies I am conducting in dissolution, percentage cumulative drug release in the dissolution is equal to percentage drug absorbed in vivo. In such case, no need of conducting in vivo studies, directly go to in vitro studies. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this is BioWeaver. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that is, come to my first explanation. Company 1, C1 is your innovator, C2 and C3 are the company who want to manufacture their own tablet by using innovator's drug. Why they are using innovator's drug? Because its patent is been expired, which we call it as generic drug. So they want to develop the generic drug in a cheap cost. For that, the regulator will ask you to prove the bioequivalence. Bioequivalence means 80% of bioavailability should be same if you compare with the innovator product. For that, again, these companies, even though drug is well established, they need to go for the bioavailability studies in human beings. To avoid all this, if I develop a method where I can use in vitro method and say that yes, See, C1 has conducted, company 1 has conducted, innovator company has conducted the viability studies previously. I took that data and I compared my data with in vitro studies which I have created by using IV-IVC method. Now it is showing more than 80% viability. I can leave this drug into the market. That what the innovator wants. So that what the whole concept of IV IVC. I hope you understand. Thank you.